Never said what about Kobe? Hey, don't you mess with our LA folks. And Ray J and Prince's love. Oh, are they in love again? And Shaq, he like DMF. I'm about to lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. All this and more on Another Mother episode 15.
Yeah. When I fly into the see somebody fine in their seats, what do they say?
Hey.
When I fly into the see somebody fine in their seats, what do they say? Hey, would you like coffee, tea, or me? 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 Get up and do the dance with me.
Early morning, late nights.
What's
Should I
up?
let that keep going?
Why did
Should I let that keep going?
rest in sight?
Uh,
Negotiate without receipts. You
What?
should let me know if you switch your seat safety.
Safety?
You're not in first class. Take that bag to the back elsewhere, mine.
Man.
Pedal and twist slow. Now tell your neighbor don't order for a drink, sir. Get your coffee, get your tea, get your lime. What's up, guys? This is Another Mother Poddio, and I am Lisa Renee, and this is
The big black ant, wild ant, wheezy, for sheezy, my
he's from
kneesy.
the 916
Sack
Town.
town.
How about that? I'm from the DMV 240. It just doesn't quite. We known for go-go, okay? We are known for that, okay? We are known for a little bit of a go-go, a little, rare essence, okay? Junkyard band. If you know anything about that,
Hey.
you will know where go-go. Jill Scott used it on one of her songs.
Yeah.
Ava Ray used it on one of her songs. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
For sure.
Oh, honey, in the house.
For sure.
Sardines.
Yeah.
And pork and beans. Say, sardines.
Uh,
And pork and beans. Hey,
hey.
that's where I'm sardines.
Hey.
Hey, and pork and beans. Hey,
Hey.
do it. Sardines.
Hey.
And pork and beans.
Hey.
I'm from the DC area.
Hey.
What's up, guys? If you are new to the channel, welcome to Another Mother. We actually have this show every Friday morning.
Word.
9 a.m. Come in, check with us, like, share, subscribe. If you like this, talk mess with us. We don't give a daggone. You know what I'm saying? But let's get into it, guys. So chopper, I say chopper, cha 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 cha, cha 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 cha. Anyway, Chopper said, listen, now Chopper's from Making the Band. If you guys don't know that, that's from way back in the day with Sean Diddy. I say, Sean Puffick Holmes. I say, you can't hold me down. Diddy, say that right now. You can't hold me down. You can't hold me down. Shake that ass, shake that ass, shake that ass, shake that ass. Okay. Diddy probably up there in the pen like, you can't hold me down. Y'all, okay? But he was from Making the Band back in the day. And so Chopper went on a show. And to be fair, because I noticed some people chopped and edited the footage, it made it look like Chopper just brought Kobe up. Not true. He was asked a question. And his answer was basically, was he messing around with Sarah? Sarah was also from Making the Band. I think Sarah also have allegations. Y'all hot, bruh. Good G. That damn COVID weight. I got it. I know they said 15. No, honey. No, honey, I gave 13. And I'm out of breath. I can't even talk. I said, I can't even talk. Right now, no, I need my coffee. And some tea. In me. Okay, so I caught my breath. So anyway, guys, we are literally, I don't know if y'all know, but Aunt Wild and I are born on the same day, November the
Lit it.
13th. And so
Yeah.
that's why we're another mother. Our friendship go way back, guys. And so we truly feel like we are sisters and brothers from another lifetime. We tried to go on a date. We realized we hated that. And so now we end up being the best of friends. Okay. Because you always have people that knew you back then. No, no, they were dating this stuff. They were dating
Yeah,
this stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what we did.
Hey,
And we realized we were the
get
best of
over
friends.
yourselves.
How about that? Okay. So anyway, Chopper was asked a question and he answered it. Chopper is known to be very authentic and real. Some people respectfully would have went another angle, but Chopper's just not that guy. Kind of like we talked about Ray J. They just gonna speak their stuff. And
True.
basically, he was like, "Well, I don't know how you know that, but yeah, yeah, Sarah allegedly and Kobe were getting down. So some people were upset. They basically felt like, did we need to know about these cheating rumors? Was this necessary to spill, or who really cares? We already knew that he was cheating. So what do you think? And we
Yeah, yeah, I remember Sarah. First of all, Sarah was a high. Hey, Sarah, I remember Sarah was a high back then. I remember her. From the D, she from Detroit. But yeah, I mean, he was asked a question, he answered it. I do. I think it would all be different. I think it would be probably looked upon the same if he said it, but it's really a little bit different now because Kobe isn't here. And so I think that's what hit a lot of people in the sensitivity area, pause, um, because he's not here. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So now it's like, it's now you're almost kind of actually somebody in this segment kind of in an interview um post his passing. It was you kind of harp on certain things and it's like, man, the brother ain't here. It was probably around that same time frame, you know what I'm saying? Like it was probably around the same time frame that they had to work through. Vanessa obviously forgave him. They went on to,
Yeah.
saying have four beautiful children and all the things. And I definitely think that was a back in the day thing. I don't think that was an anything current thing. I think once he got ousted and the whole situation that went on in
Mm-hmm.
Colorado and then all that, maybe all it was happening all around that time because making the band was around that time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think once that happened, I think he's kind of been chill since then. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's just kind of one of them things. I mean, he's just talking his truth. I mean, I ain't villainizing the brother. You know what I mean? I
Right.
mean,
Right.
if it happened, it happened. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't there. I
Right.
can compliment her. You know me, I'm always gonna give the women that are cute, I'm always gonna give her their flowers. So I can see what he saw in her. Yeah. For sure that because Sarah was bad on the show while you're playing. Hey Sarah, if you ever watch it, you know what I'm saying? I'm sending some dark skin love to some light skin love. But yeah, I mean, could he probably did without it? Maybe, but
Yeah.
he was just, he's probably just one of them people speaking his little truth. Kobe's not here. When Kobe left, we could actually use Kobe right now, like
Mm.
for real.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think about that a lot. Like even just in our ascendance and what we're doing, I'm like Kobe would have been a dope person to bump into along the way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think Kobe was down for the cause, like on some real.
So here's a
So.
question for you then.
Hmm.
And I want you guys to drop your answers in the comment because I don't know if you remember Kevin Samuels. Remember Kevin Samuels
I
that
do
stirred up
remember
a
Kevin
lot of stuff?
Samuels.
When he transitioned, rest in peace. A lot of people said, should we not? He had a lot to say when he was on Earth. Why should we, just because he's passed, stop talking? And if you remember when he passed, people were just going, especially women. A
Hmm.
lot of women were really going in on him. And so there is an argument that just because someone passes, so we can't talk about them and tell the truth of what happened or not. So I respectfully want to let people rest in peace, but I want to know what they think or maybe what you think. When a person's transition, should there be a certain respect there?
Very good question, actually. I actually
Hmm.
like that question. I'm
Yeah.
glad you asked it. again, a lot of times when they transition, I tread lightly, but because of where, the frequency that I occupy in the world, me and, the things kind of attach, if you will. But I will say this in the difference. It wasn't that Kobe passed and we shouldn't talk about him. It's how Kobe was living at the time that he passed. Now, if he was
Mhm.
still out here running around and you know what I'm saying, doing this thing and doing all this on Vanessa and all that kind of stuff, then maybe that would lend a different conversation
Right.
now when talking about him. Kevin Samuels, at the time he transitioned, rest in peace, was very much on a lot of stuff that people didn't like, especially women, especially black women. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That was his clickbait, if you will. Rest in
Right.
peace. But that was his jive. It's like
It
if
was me.
Charleston
Like,
White,
if you're 40 and over and you're a little
yeah,
thick, nobody
yeah,
wants you. But
yeah, you know what I'm
rock on
saying?
my
That was his
hand.
jive. That was
And
his
I'll
jive
probably be
up
married in a couple of years. You lying
right.
son of a shit. So women, just let me tell you, excuse me for 1 minute. Now you got the Kevin Samuels in me. Do not believe the hype, okay? I am at that age that he's talking about. I'm thick and thick and thick, okay? And I am happily, okay, in a relationship. He's not ugly. He's handsome, okay? Does a great job, a couple of Mercedes. So that's some bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
See, that's what I'm
I am.
saying. But that's what
I
I'm
am what you're
saying.
talking
That
about. Okay?
that is my point
Rest in
right there.
peace.
Like he was
Look, now I'm gonna
actively,
say rest in peace.
huh?
Then I'm gonna go rest in peace. I know I
Well, I still want to
no,
give
but seriously,
respect.
rest in
You
peace.
know what I'm
I
saying?
do believe that, but I just want people to know you cannot believe every girl online. Don't believe in the hype. If you believe it is going to manifest. I
Right.
never bought into anything he said at all. Period. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. No, but
Sorry.
but that's my point though. Like he was on that up
Right.
until he transitioned. So
Yes.
now when you talk about him, yeah, I do think the reservation is different. Like I say, if Kobe was on and he was running wild and doing all that kind of stuff at the time he transitioned, then I think that would be a different, if
Yeah.
somebody brings him up, that would be a different kind of situation. I don't know if it would be as valid for people to be like, oh man, you talking about Kobe,
Yeah.
he gone. But again, it's very likely, again, but it's very likely at the time that if
Yeah.
he did have any relations with Sarah, hey Sarah, how you doing? How you doing, baby girl?
Right.
But if he did have any relations with Sarah,
Yeah.
it's very likely it was 20 something years ago. And we all know how Kobe was at the time he transitioned. That's what I'm saying. Kevin Samuels, for instance, another one. Charleston White, if he were to, not wishing, but I'm just saying if he were to, and if a lot of people had a lot to say, Charleston White be on whatever he be on.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very good. I'm very glad you asked that. In fact, that would have been the topic of the segment, um, bringing this up because that's a very good question. I
Yeah.
think it depends on and not to say you can't talk about anybody's past. That was Chopper's choice. So I'm not even trying to vilify him, but I do think it's different in the fact that, Kobe wasn't on that at all at the time he passed. Kevin
Yeah.
Samuels was on all the stuff that made you do all the stuff. He was on that at the time he transitioned. So when you talk about him, you have no choice but to talk about that because that's what he was on.
Absolutely. And I know that some of his words was literally renting space in Black women's head. And you really sometimes have to take things and let it stop right here and throw that out the window. Because even at the time that I was single, I still did not listen to anything he had to say because I was having men talk to me daily to this day, right? Matter of fact, when I got thicker after COVID, they were like, good God Almighty, she looks like a hog. But I will eat those piece of bacon, that pork chop. If you want to come to my house, remember Eddie Murphy SNL? Good darling, Miss Marley. She looks like a hog. I'm thinking Eddie Murphy. But and so I just want to tell women, I do know that we have a big following of men. Thank you guys who continue to follow us. But women, you have got to know exactly who you are. Confidence does come with time. I'll be very honest. But if someone is telling you something that you know is counterproductive to your reality, don't buy into it. I am not lying. When I got
Yeah.
thicker, like who's that? I mean, you just go walk on our set, dude. Like, I mean, we having a live show right here. Get your ass out of the background. Good golly, Miss Molly, dude.
That's
Got
my
a bag
man
in your
Twizzle.
hand. You look like a hog. Good golly, okay? Stay off the set, buddy. Stay off the set in the background. How about that? So it's just important to live in your truth, know who you are, take everything all of us say on YouTube with a grain of salt, and make sure that you know within your mind, with your heart and your spirit, who you are. Love can only come to you if you allow love to come to you. Get all the negative energy, the negative thoughts, the negative things that people have done to you in the past, and just believe that there is somebody for me. But in the meantime, I'm just going to keep moving forward in my life. And that's truly, it's one of the things why I feel like I am so happily in love right now. Like I wanted love, right? But I wasn't going to settle. I wasn't going to tolerate all the BS that no disrespect, guys, that some of y'all try to put on us. And I wasn't going to just be like a best friend. You know how we got friends with buddies and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I feel like that was counterproductive to the spiritual world, right? If I pray to God and I pray to my guardian angels, help me find someone, it was just like I have to move all the rats out of the way, all the toads, all the frogs out of the way. So it was very clear when the person was ready to come in my life, they could see that the path was very clear. So just be mindful. That's the only thing I want to say. Be mindful. But I truly do. And even though I was playing when Anthony and I was saying this, I do say rest in peace to Kevin Samuels, because I'm sure when he transitioned and his life flashed in front of him, I know he probably could have thought maybe I could have done things differently. But I give him credit because he tapped into something that people love and people bought into. And a lot of my male friends, I mean, and while we talked about this, Kevin Samuels, they felt like gave them a voice. And so I can't say he gave me a voice as a woman, you know what I mean? But he did give a platform for men to share how they really felt. And I got to credit him for being an innovator in that area.
I will also say this. I also feel like it's very important. Now, mind you, this is me coming with naivete. So if y'all want to jump in the comments and beat me up because I'm not the most Kevin Samuels oriented, please do. Because I'm not, I don't. This is the point of my soliloquy. Real quick on that. A lot of the times, we occupy a certain space where we get popular for tearing people down,
Mhm.
mostly us, right? We get popular for that. Doesn't mean there wasn't a lot of things that he said that were probably truthful. Charleston White, the same way. Uh, but a lot of times we get popular for villainizing each other. I
Mhm.
don't really hear a lot of that same fervor when it comes to other situations. Now, if you're just shooting at everybody, you're shooting at everybody. But it seems that a lot of the focus was on um, women, black women in general, you know what I'm saying? All the kinds of stuff. A lot of the focus is on that as far as denigrating and so then you get famous on that. And that's just something as a man, for me, I just it doesn't mean I'm never gonna have nothing to say. Don't get it twisted, because but I got stuff to say. Mine is coming from a different standpoint of me and a good friend was having this conversation last night. It's on some like, yo, man, we got to be better type stuff. So if I'm
Mhm.
hitting at you and it's getting at you, we got to be better. And I'm not saying, hey, their sentiments aren't that, right?
Mhm.
Maybe in their mind, that's what they feel their sentiments are. But we don't never really hear that reinforcement in their talk. It's
Yeah.
just all boom, 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 boom. Black women, if you over 40 and da, 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 da,
Yeah.
and it's just all y'all are crap. Well, where's any other love in that? You know what I'm saying? Like again, sports. I use sports analogy. That's how my dad taught lessons in life. Like if I'm being crappy on you, if you really hate me right now, but at the end of the journey, you could be like, man, I would have never been this good if he or she didn't push me.
Right.
It's kind of the same thing. I don't ever really hear the love, and so then we get celebrated for being a certain way towards people. So that's why it's very important from a man standpoint, being authentic, because I'm not saying I'm not going to be on here every single day like, oh, you guys,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. We going to hold each other accountable, but it is important that I occupy, for me anyway, that I occupy a certain space, especially when it comes to women in general, to be honest with you. And then even in that, especially when it comes to black women, it's very important to occupy a certain space where um, we can have real dialogue and everything isn't just me getting famous because and because see here's what happens is and again I am not blaming her, I'm really not, I'm just using this as an example. What happens is people didn't jump in and say I was part of a class the other day and her name was brought up. I'm talking about Candace Owens, right?
Mhm.
And you hear a lot of people jumping in, oh yeah, she's awesome, X, Y, and Z. But all those people that are jumping in don't look like us. So now they think that you're awesome because you're spewing at this group of people. They wouldn't think if you could say the same exact things about another group of people and you're not as awesome. In fact, you're the opposite. So
Mhm.
we got to be careful on how they celebrate us
Mhm.
because, oh yeah, I like this person and X, Y, and Z. A lot of times it be clickbait. A lot of times we out here, we're doing the minstrel show. We don't even realize it. That's what me and a good friend of mine be doing. Every time we get to talk about certain coonery things, we'll be like, oh my God, we'll do the tap dance. We'll do a tap dance thing. It's all funny and we make it fun and everything, but it's true. So it's very interesting we took this spin on this because
Yeah.
we got to be very mindful of the perception. We might think we get in love, they just might be using us to perpetuate the same behavior that we're doing that's not allowing us to grow. Not
Yeah.
everything's going to be perfect. I'm not saying there ain't going to be conflict. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying all the stuff. But even in this very real, keep it real space, there has to be a certain understanding I feel that has been lost over time. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like
Yeah.
even if we talk about some gangster stuff, like the gangsters, they was always gangsters, but there was always, even like in the music, there was always this underlying like, okay, at the end of the day, I do understand. I might have to go blast on this cat right here, but at the end of the day, I understand what the system is. I'm trying to beat the system as opposed to perpetuate the system. So I'm
Yeah.
just saying we got to be very mindful.
I
And
agree.
that space is why, especially again, back to the whole thing when she went on the, the thick and all this and women.
Mhm.
That's why that space, I try and occupy a certain space when it comes to that. I got a song that Lisa's on. I can't wait for y'all to hear it when the album
Yeah.
starts getting dropped. That
Yeah.
very much plays on this very same thing in a
Yeah.
very real way. So,
Absolutely.
um, I just want to say that in that because I think a lot of times people get celebrated and it's not always,
Yeah, and he did. I mean, Kevin
yeah.
Samuels did get celebrated. I believe he got awards and stuff like that. He did get celebrated. So you guys let us know when someone has transition on, how do we talk about it? Should we talk about it or should we not talk about it? Going back to the Chopper interview, should we be like, I don't want to answer that question. Kobe has transitioned out of respect for his family. Let's just kind of zip it. So you give us your answers. You hear what we kind of think on it, and we'll move on. So, Blue Origin's first all-woman flight
Mm.
crew, love it. Blasted off Monday on a journey 62 miles above Earth's surface to the Carmain line. The NS-31 mission marked the 11th human flight of Jeff Bezos. New Shepherd program. I can't even believe what I saw, said Gail King, because Gail King was a part of the women that were traveling. Also, Katy Perry traveled. Journalist and philanthropist Lauren Sanchez traveled. Film producer Carrie Ann Flyne, is it? And then former NASA rocket scientist Aisha Bowe. And civil rights activist Amanda Nguyen. And then Bowe is the first Bahamian, and Nguyen is the first Vietnamese and Southeast Asian women in space. So I just want to say kudos to those women who actually was a part of this amazing project. I did hear some people online and wow, and to you guys were saying, oh, Jeff Bezos, he's so entitled, but actually, if you know Jeff's story, he's not entitled. He
Mm,
has an amazing story. I had an interview with a man with Amazon. I'll never forget them telling me his story, and they were mad at me. I didn't take the job. I just felt very uncomfortable. Ace, I don't know if you remember me telling you that. They flew me out, put me in a nice, really nice hotel, had per diem, everything. But I don't know if you've ever had a pit in your stomach, and it could have been because I looked around and nobody looked like me. But other
mm,
than that, like
mm, mm,
it was a really country area out in like the Seattle, Washington area. And my gut just didn't feel good.
mm,
And you have to trust that gut. And I'm going to tell you, when I didn't take the job, the leadership team got very nasty. One even tried to make a comment about being like a token. Um,
mm.
yeah,
Interesting.
Amazon.
Mm,
And now just got invited to be the Amazon influencer program.
mm.
And so I didn't take it personal. People are who they are based on how they're raised, their environment, their generations. But, sir, whatever you say, at the end of the day, that's why I'm not taking the job. And so
Yeah,
when I didn't take the job and he made certain comments, it just confirmed to me that I made the right decision to not walk into this place because I could have gotten the job, and he was just like, oh, you're very smart and you're this and you're, that. But I would have probably dealt with a lot of stuff for those same attributes he pumped me up. Those same attributes would have been a problem when I was talking in meetings, right? Because I'm going to bring you on board, but you can't speak too much, but
yeah,
we're going to bring you here, but you can't go to a 10. You can only stay at a 7. And it's funny when corporations hire people, they hire them for all these skill sets to only diminish them to a smaller
yeah.
skill set.
Crazy,
I
right?
never understand that. Whenever I hire people with my company, I always want them to elevate. I've never had to worry about being in competition with them, worrying about them taking my job. Matter of fact, if they go bigger because they started with you, isn't that a blessing?
Yeah,
I think that's a blessing. But Jeff Bezos, guys, he worked his way up. There's no entitlement with Jeff. He does have an amazing story. Any students that are in school, he would be someone that I would do a project or write a paper on. His story is pretty phenomenal. And he's one of the big wigs that I would say he is not entitled. He worked his butt off to build this giant that we all still use. But congratulations to these women. Gail King was upset too as well, because people just kind of made her feel bad. Again, your title, you get to go and da 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 da. Why should she not go? I
yeah.
mean, Gail is a journalist. You don't think she's just like any other human being that want to try, different things?
Hmm.
Let Gail win, and then also people come up with the rumors about, Oprah out there crying because her secret girlfriend, she could, you know what I mean? Like that, let them be. You know what I'm saying? And no, I do not think that they are girlfriends like that. I'll tell you why. One of my besties, Cheryl, we're very close. We hug, kiss. Or a lot of my girlfriends, we hug. There's nothing going on like that. Me and Aunt, wow. Y'all probably
Hmm.
think we're together right now. We're not.
Right.
Some people are
Right.
just friends.
Right,
And I know
right,
that's
right.
hard for people to leave, but you can have a healthy relationship with the same sex and with the opposite sex, and there not be any type of, lesbian or affairs or anything like that. So you just got to clear your mind up. If you're one of those people that go to the negativity, you got to clear that clutter out of your mind. Check where that negativity is actually coming from. I would have done this. I would have been crying too. With if Cheryl got on me, I would have been crying because I know these things can explode. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And I don't know what could happen, but I also would be there to cheer her on if this is something she truly wants to do, just like my job. Some of my friends don't want me to fly right now. They're like, quit that today, right?
right,
But at the same
right.
token, they're like, she loves flying. Lisa loves helping people. She likes traveling. So we got to just support her if this is what she wants to do. So y'all stop all that noise.
Hmm.
Congratulations, Gail. Love you. Love Oprah. And congratulations to all the women that was a part of that NC 31 that went up.
Yeah, no, that's
Pretty
awesome.
awesome.
That whole crew, that whole look, it's awesome. Hey, look, whether it was token or not, it was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Um, Facts, like for real, like because a lot of times, even with the people being, even if there's token situations, a lot of
Yeah.
times they ain't got to do it, especially in his situation, where Amazon did take a lot of heat, deservingly so, for
Yeah.
removing, the whole DEI thing.
Yeah.
Maybe this is his attempt at trying to get people back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we are really easy to get back. Let's keep it a buck. Let's just keep it a thou wow. You know what I mean? Let's
We're
keep it.
just so easy.
We real easy to get
Reel
back.
them on. We'll reel them on in. We'll reel them
Yeah,
on
yeah, we
in.
real easy. You know what I'm saying? It's the come on, let's just keep it a thou wow. Like, we really easy to get back. You see
Puppeteers.
that? You see what I did? See that there? Yeah, we really easy to get back. So let's just, hey, I am
Death
excellence,
is
black
business.
excellence, and all that kind of stuff. But I keep it real too. We really easy to get back. They just throw out a statement and, well, everything's okay. So yeah, everything's okay. So everything's okay. Um so that was awesome.
Sorry, y'all. Because I feel like YouTube is so shady with it. Wow, it seems to catch his idiotic faces, and that's why I don't even do a thumbnail because his idiotic faces doesn't enough for me. So I was hoping because he'd been so serious because he had to get up so early this Friday morning, but now he's finally waking up. So hopefully he'll catch one of these silly faces. I'm sorry, Andy.
So we
But
easy to get back, but that was awesome.
that was awesome.
And
That
then
was
the whole the Amazon thing, I wanted so I had an Amazon experience too. Now in my case, Lisa decided not to take the job. In my case, they decided not to take me.
awesome.
They, I didn't have that same luxury. They sat back and said, yeah, we ain't gonna take you. you know. But they did fly out. They flew out, did a couple of phone interviews. They flew out.
Yeah,
It was in Tracy. They flew me to Oakland, got me to rent a car. I felt big wiggish, said I'm
right,
sliding through, I'm all in the Bay. Everybody knows how much I love the Bay. So I'm
right.
sliding on the rental, on the company, what I'm saying? And then didn't really do
Exciting.
well on the and I don't know what happened.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know
Sorry.
what happened. Yeah, you look like a
Well,
silhouette
good old
shoulder. You look
life.
like a golden child when she was behind the thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, tell me about
Oh, hey, baby.
the golden knight. Where do I have to go get the golden dagger?
See, that's a little bit better. I
You
was
go get the
crazy.
no, that's a
Now it's
little
like
bit
I got all
terrible.
these
That's still
sprinkles in
terrible.
my
Yeah,
shot.
you might have to turn the
Jeez.
light on in there. So it's
I
terrible.
know. Sorry, guys. I'm
Yeah,
traveling,
if
and
you wasn't
so
light skinned, we wouldn't be able to see nothing. Um, so
it's supposed to adjust automatic. No, it didn't even adjust when I move it up. That's great. Oh, there we
okay,
go.
there you go.
There we go. All
Yeah,
right.
you might have
Sorry,
to just
guys.
sit still. Be quiet.
My flight
But
is closed.
but the
That's how we gotta sit. Y'all just look at us on the jump seat taking off
yeah,
running.
you gotta sit still. Be quiet.
That is what we say.
So but in that, when you brought up the interview thing, I've always stated, like, I went on an interview one time, and I'm using this, like Lisa talking about hiring, about to be hiring and all that kind of stuff, and I'm using this. I went on an interview one time at a big wig company, and I just got somebody who was awesome. Now again, I didn't get that job either, but I did like the fact that I didn't. Hey,
It is what
listen,
it is.
I keep it real.
It happens to all of
Hey,
us.
listen. When as the success continues to come, yeah, I'm very humble and grateful, but I'm gonna own that because I could show you a folder of a bunch of no's. You want to talk about some no's? Hey y'all, you want to talk about some no's? Talk about earned your way up. There's a bunch of no's out there. A bunch of people that said no. But the style in the interview was very like, because I started answering the questions at first, very, yeah. So, this situation, Lisa knows about this because hell, Lisa interviewed me. That's how we met each other. You know about the STAR format: situation, task, ask, action, result. So I start going in my STAR format. Well, the situation was this, and then my task was this, and then the action I took was this, and the result was this. And so after, one or two questions, she just kind of chilled and she was like, you know what? She just started asking me normal questions. And so then I started answering. And then as we started getting back into the questions, she was like, you know what? I just want to, I believe in just getting the most authentic person because I want to hire somebody I feel that's really going to be. And in order for me to really get who I'm going to get, let me just get this version of you. And I'm
Yeah,
like, oh my God. And I made a nugget of that ever since to like, that's exactly what I'm going to do my best to be in that space when I hire. Doesn't mean I ain't going to ask questions. Don't mean I
yeah,
ain't going to do background checks. Me and Lisa was talking about all this yesterday. Don't mean all this stuff. Don't mean I'm not going to do all the professional stuff. But in order to decide if you really fit, you know what I'm saying? Let me get the best version of you. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
let me see what version you are. Let me see how you really get down. That way I can determine. So when she said that about how they interviewed and how she felt and all that, I just wanted to throw that nugget in because I think that's some of the stuff that doesn't get talked about even on the leadership standpoint. Like, hey man, let me bring you in. Let me get you comfortable. And then let's talk about it. And then you might work, you might not. But that way, even as an evaluator, I can get a best version of you. So. It was very
Exactly.
interesting when you said that.
Right. I don't know if you guys saw my Jerry Springer movie review. I actually talked about that because producers would not hire people with producer credits. They would hire people that had the skill sets to work with people. So,
Mm,
prime example, Toby was one of their biggest producers. Toby was a bartender. He was a
mm,
bartender. They said, what better person knows how to deal with people than a
right.
bartender? And I
Facts.
take that same type of avenue when I try to hire people. I try to see what are they good in hospitality? Are they good with customer service, right? Because these type of people have servant hearts. They know how to help people. So I go with that same approach. I do look at credentials and academia because I think that they're important, but I really want to know where is this person heart right now, guys. I do have a current opening. If you are good with YouTube, content creating, monetization, organization, send me your resume to lisareneeworks@gmail.com. Aunt Wow and I, things are growing, they're getting bigger, and we cannot do it all by ourselves. So we're at the point now that we're expanding. I need someone part-time for about 10 hours. I would say a week, and I'm paying between 17.92 to 19.92. And so just let me know if that's something you want to do. It's maybe for about a 4 or 5 month project right now. And that's pretty much it. And it'll be remote work, very easy peasy. But yeah, so anyway, guys, let's move on. So let me actually share this clip really quick. Let's see.
But I
All
say, put your glasses on because you know you
right.
can't see.
I know. I literally got to put on my glasses. I thought I had this clip kind of saved. Let me see. Maybe not. But I wanted to talk about Shaq. Shaq
Mm,
had, yeah, he had a run-in with the streamer Aaron. Aaron, if you guys don't know Aaron, Aaron does a lot of, oh, here it is. He does a lot of pranks. And
Aiden,
sometimes
I
those
think it
pranks
is.
can get out of hand. And so let's just listen to this really quick. I think it's right here.
Are you shared? Oh,
Yeah. If you can't hear the sound, let me know, Ace.
Something, something there.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Well,
Here we go. Here's Aaron,
I
guys. If
don't
you guys don't know
know their
Aaron.
names, so I ain't gonna.
Aiden.
But looked like they had to grab him up and get him kicked up out of there, and that was at Aiden's boxing event.
Is this real life? This is a fever dream.
Well, Aiden, known as a streamer, but
All right, guys. So, and let's give credit. That was from NBA Cinema. We always want to give credit if we are using someone's footage. So basically, long story short, Aiden, I guess that's his name. I thought it was Aaron or something, but Aiden plays a lot of pranks on people. And so if you watch the clip, I didn't share all the clip, but he like hit Shaquille O'Neal on his leg, I believe. And you see Shaquille O'Neal's face. And I think sometimes, when something happens to you, it takes a minute for you to kind of come to like what just happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you see them into this like heated exchange. And so Aunt Weezy's going to take the lead on this story because he loves to talk about sports. And, you know, Shaquille O'Neal is to me, one of my favorite basketball players with his 3 points. That's all I'm going to say. 3 points.
uh,
Love you, Shaq.
yeah, no, hey, big ups to Shaq. Shaq is one of my guys. Pause. But you know, we're in an era now where we were talking about this before we went on. A lot of the behavior now, again, speaking of celebration, a lot of the behavior that gets rewarded, right? Because Adin is a big streamer and all the
Yeah,
stuff, and you know, like I said, he's able to have security and all that kind of stuff. But then, as a result, you're able to throw the rock and hide your hand. That's just not something we came up on. Like that's not a that wasn't behavior that got rewarded before, right? Like, you know, you're able to entice somebody and then, you know, you're able to say, yeah, you touch me and I'll sue. Like, you know, that's like snitching type of stuff, right? Like
right,
that's, like it's like snitching. It gets celebrated now. Like it's okay to snitch. Like there's almost like no code anymore. Like if you out here snitching, like you stay able to come do your thing. It's kind of the same thing. Like I'm gonna come start stuff with you, but then if you touch me, then I'm gonna sue you. You know what I'm saying? Because I have this platform. He does, and he actually hits Shaq pretty hard. Shaq is eating, I don't know what it is, some popcorn or some peanuts or whatever. I mean, he comes down and hits him pretty hard, and then Shaq reacts a certain way, and now all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, you're like provoking him to react a certain way.
right,
And you hear a lot of people say, the phrase that's coming out is play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. And I'm like, yo, man, like, that's just not. Hey, listen, I know we all trying to make a dollar. I know we all trying to do
right.
our thing. I know this social media world does garner all the stuff, right? But like, um, you gonna F around and find out. You know what I'm saying? One of y'all gonna F around and find out in a very real way. And then you see a lot of the videos where they were like, oh man, it's a prank. And you hear a lot of the cats be like, man, I don't care about no prank. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't be coming over here with that.
Right.
And like I don't follow him at all. I only knew as I started researching, I knew who he was because I've seen other videos where people, call him out and they want to come do something with him and he acts big and bad and he has a security.
Yeah,
I just don't know nothing about that. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
I don't know anything about that. I don't know nothing about that behavior, all the stuff now that
Yeah,
that gets rewarded. Um I just don't know anything about that. Like
yeah,
that's not anything like that's going to the park, starting something with somebody reacts a certain way, and then you wanna cry wolf. You wanna be victim. Touch me, I'll sue. Like you just have the right to just be out here doing stuff to people, and you're not supposed to get any consequences for it.
mhm.
And I can see exactly why Shaq was upset. It's upsetting because then at the end of the day, what can you really do, right? Because he's got if he goes, he can use this platform. He can cry wolf at the end of the day. Not trying to make it about this, y'all. Not trying to make this about this, y'all. I'm just being very real in the situation. At the end of the day, you have this behemoth of a black man and this young little, you know what I'm saying, white cat. I don't know what he is. I'm assuming he white. He could be something else. And so at the end of the day, they can always play on that aesthetic, whether it's intentional or not. So, and I'm not just saying that it just happens with him, but it's just like even at the boxing event. Now, I don't know what happened, but I'm assuming dude wanted to get at him for something, right? Because probably something he may have done or whatever. Because he gets into it with a lot of other people or
Oh,
like
that
other
event that he got
YouTubers.
thrown out of, you're talking about the
Yeah,
one
the other dude that got
yeah,
thrown
yeah,
out
yeah,
because
yeah.
he gets into it a lot of other like
Hmm.
YouTubers and like stuff, and there's all these near fights and all these kinds of things, and it's just
Yeah,
like I don't, for me, again, I just from a different school, not to, I'm just from a different, I'm just from a different time. I'll make money other way. If that's the
yeah,
only way I got to make some money, I'm just going to try and make money other way. I'm not going to be making money out here trolling and doing that. That's just not a space that I wish to occupy.
absolutely.
So overall, it's not even really an attack on Aiden. It's just that whole behind because I'm sure he's not the only one. That just whole behavior in general. I know he puffs his chest out a lot.
Yeah,
Um, and it's kind of you're hiding behind the system a little bit. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's just not something that I don't, there's not really anybody in my circle that moves that way. So I'm
Absolutely.
just, that's foreign to me. I don't know anything about that. If that's part of the new, a new wave and whatever, and people are like, oh yeah, this is one of my favorite people. Oh, okay. I just don't know anything about that. That's not anything. I don't have anybody I'm going to introduce to you that does that, that behaves that way or anything
Hmm.
like that.
Hmm.
Everybody that looks at stuff be like, yeah, what's he supposed to do? Yeah, turn the camera off and really do that. Like, we from that school, hey, meet me outside in the parking lot type
Right.
thing. So
Right.
that was my whole thing on that. I just that whole um the reward for those type of interactions just isn't something that really sits well with me. Do you? It's your
Yeah.
world. You know what I'm saying? Who is it? You have however many followers, and I don't have those, and I know that's what your response would be to me. Who is this old ass MF talking about and whoop, 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 all that kind of stuff, whatever. But it's kind of the same thing, well, what I'm saying, hey, it is what it is. But if you see, you know what I mean? It's kind of one of that, like you waving your hand at me, I'm waving my hand at you because whatever you doing ain't really, I'm not even really trying to diss. I'm just saying that's just not behavior that I know anything about. Straight up.
Absolutely. I agree with you. There is a guy, his name is Damon Darling, and he is a darling. He is so funny. He cracks me up. Damon just got booted out of all Walmarts. He used to do skits kind of like us, but then he said pranks gets the viral moments more, and that's why people do the pranks. And unfortunately, he got banned. The difference between Damon would go up you guys, and pay for people groceries. He had a thing though. He would say, "You want $1?" And they'd be like, "What?" He'd be like, "Or do you have $1?" And he has it in this accent. "You got $1, huh, bud?" Or he would call women meemaws. Say my me, hey meemaws, you want $1? And then if they give him $1, he goes, "Ah, I'm just playing. Here's your dollar back, bub. Can I pay for your groceries today?" He's been sober, I think now for 9 years, and he tell
Dope.
people that he has kind of remorse. He's became so successful that his way of giving back is buying people groceries. And you should see the tears. People are just so overwhelming. But as much as you're trying to do something good, it could always bother somebody, which is why sometimes you just have to be true to yourself because you just cannot please everybody. But those pranks, they do very good, but there are some consequences to them. I do want to take a quick break right now, guys, to observe that today is Good Friday. If you don't know what Good Friday is celebrated before Easter, and it marks the day that Jesus was crucified and he died. So this is the day that we actually observe that. Most people eat fish. On today, they won't, consume like any meat or anything like that. So we do want to say happy Good Friday to everybody. And then secondly, we wanted to talk about something we are very excited about. We want to talk about our show, Buckle Your Mother Freaking Seatbelt. So,
Word. Word up.
you guys, shout out to Carrie, the photographer. Shout out to the space for doing this marketing bulletin right here. But I have been flying, I want to say, for like 30 years now in my career. And I have seen such a disconnect between aviation workers and passengers. And so, buckle your seatbelt. It takes you through some of the trials and the tribulations that we go through as employees. And I obviously an employee, but also I go through some of the experience of me also as a passenger for so many years when I was traveling with corporate and then I was traveling with the Harlem Globetrotters. It uses all my talents. It's a way that you can come and see me sing, dance, my comedy, my acting. And in the midst of that, Aunt Wow has been by my side throughout it. And you guys, this one performance, I wish I could share it, but I can't share it. When I say you guys will leave the theater talking about this one song that Aunt Wow is doing because it is so dope. Aunt Wow will be playing a pilot. He is the first officer. If you guys know who a first officer is on the plane, he is the first officer on the plane. We have Captain John Weldon from Delta Airlines, who is a part of this production, and just so many people. OC Flow from Chosen, Lady T, a lot of people know her from DMV. Lazarus, if you guys know Lazarus, he was with the Harlem Globetrotters too, along with me. And so please get your tickets. If you cannot go to Vegas, I am out here, Vegas. What's up, Vegas? I'm out here taking care of
Vegas.
what's up, Vegas? Taking care of a lot of stuff right now. If you cannot come to Vegas, although we would love for you to be in the house, you can stream. So if a lot of people were getting confused, here's the stream right here. Right. So if you want to do the live stream, just purchase the live stream. And then the day of the show, you're going to click live stream right here. If you have any issues, here is the need assistance number 1-800-316-8559. Our show is Saturday, July the 26th. Tickets are $50 through $75. We do recommend 16 and over just because there is some language a little bit, but I am mindful because my nieces, who are two little girls, they're playing in the show. So trust me, I am being a little mindful of my language, but because there is some language, I want to make sure that parents, you are okay to come. But we do play fun on a lot of the kids and stuff like that in the show. So come out. It's very inspirational too. You see a little bit of glimpse of my life in Act One. A lot of people say I'm a little mystique and mysterious. I think I'm pretty out there, but people have said that about me. So I try to share a little glimpse in my life too, to kind of dispel a lot of myths or things you may think of me. You'll get to know a lot about me. And I bring my friends on this journey with me. You know, some of these people are not actors. Some of the voices you're going to hear when I'm talking about my life, these were people who were actually going through these situations with me at that time. So it's a very authentic performance you're going to actually see from a lot of friends of mine. So get your tickets. And wow, did you want to add anything?
Get your coffee, get your tea,
Tea.
get your
Get
No,
your
this is gonna
life.
be yeah, this is buckle your seatbelts, perfectly titled. Um Perfectly titled, buckle your seatbelts. It's a very, you'll get every emotion, you'll get every, especially around, the first act, second act, you're gonna get a lot of emotion. You're gonna get a lot of it's a very artistic way to reflect on one's journey. Um, and it's awesome. It's
Thank
awesome. It's
you.
it's it's awesome. It's gonna be that picture, that whole graphic is classic. And the space. I was about to talk about the space. I
Ooh.
was gonna say the space at the space is dope, right? Like the space itself, perfectly titled. That's actually a dope name for a I'm actually jealous of that name actually, because
Event.
that's a dope name. The space. It's an awesome space. Everybody been there. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting them personally, but everything, just through, what Lisa's talked about and X, Y, and Z, everybody's been awesome. They can't wait. 16 of those definitely recommended. We don't bring them kids. We could no, I'm playing. I'm joking. But no, yeah, it's definitely it's a just cautionary, but there are kids in the show, so obviously it's not like anti-kids, but
Yeah.
there's just some parts in there where it gets very real, and we want to be authentic in that journey. So no, it's awesome. Can't wait. It's gonna be a it's gonna be a good show. Buckle your seatbelts, perfectly titled. It's a good journey to go on. Come get some real art. Come get some good real art. Not the and
Absolutely.
there's a lot of good real art out there. We want to contribute to the good art that's out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely, guys. So get your tickets for Buckle Your Seatbelts.
Get your
Um,
coffee,
get
get
your
your
coffee,
tea,
get your
get your
tea. Okay, guys. So, oh, Kanye, yay, whatever you want to call yourself. I just want to talk about you again, Kanye. So, guys, I don't know if you all saw the video. Kanye alluded to his mother being a lesbian and how he, heard noises coming from her bedroom. And basically saying because of her being a lesbian, he's inherited that from her. And I don't know, now, I mean, is he gay? I mean, I didn't understand how, what did he mean about inherited anything. But long story short, I believe it was Albie Shore posted a video what is his mom? Is it Donna or Doma? Her name's?
Donda.
Donda, Donda and Kanye, when Kanye was just coming up, and she was like his biggest supporter. But what she was also telling her son to kind of keep 2 feet on the ground. And I don't know if this video was posted to kind of remind Kanye, remember what your mother said. She wants you to go big and she wants you to be confident, but always keep 2 feet on the ground. And it makes me, and my mom had to have that talk with me when I was with the Harlem Globetrotters because it started to get overwhelming for me. And that happens to a lot of people when you start to get spotlight really, really quick. And Beyonce, it happened to Beyonce. I remember Tina Knowles talking about it, that you have to kind of just stay very grounded and just remain who you are and stay very humble for your situations and never get too big for your britches. Always remain 2 feet, like you're just like
Hmm.
nobody
10
else. You
toes
just,
down.
yeah, we got these these gifts, but at the end of the day, we are human beings. And so that was, yeah, I think that's, yeah, I probably would have left that information. Again, we're talking about someone who's passed over, right? We talked about it with Kobe, and we talked about it with, Kevin Samuels. Do we cross the line, guys? Answer the question, when people have transitioned, to keep talking about them in a negative light. Ace, I'll pass this over to you.
Well, again, to answer that question, depends. I think a lot of it, right or wrong, depends on how that person was at the time that they transitioned.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If they were something earlier in life, but then they just kind of evolved, obviously that's going to be a part of their story. But again, the fervor, just, it's still very much from an RIP place, but the fervor in which you're going to talk about Kevin Samuels is just going to be different than you talk about Kobe. It's just reality because at the
Yeah.
time he passed, that's literally the latest news that was on him. With that said, in this situation, this is Kanye talking about his mom.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know how much jurisdiction I have on that, right? Like, you were the most affected on earth when Donda passed. Your kids weren't born yet, so they didn't get a chance to have that relationship with her. I don't believe he has any brothers and sisters. I feel like he was the only child.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so you were the person who was left out here on an island when she left. Um, so you speaking on that is kind of, I don't know if I have any jurisdiction on that. It is very interesting. I remember him saying in an interview years ago that this is like right when he was really starting to bubble. This is like right when he was really starting to bubble. And, he was people just started seeing glimpses of his, a lot of these outbursts have been associated with Kanye. They just kind of evolved, and his lens and his
Hmm.
intent has evolved over years into something now that's just to the point where a lot of people can't defend it anymore. Um, but I do remember him saying years ago in an interview that a lot of the times the way in which he acts, it's as a result of the fact that he was raised by his mother and he was raised by his aunts. I think if
Hmm.
I'm misquoting it, he was raised by women and he was
Mm,
around women a lot.
okay.
So a lot of the times that he has tantrums, it's a reflection of
Oh,
him being raised around women and being around women a lot. And I thought that was very interesting. Like, again, this was years ago. This is
mm,
probably '05, when I saw this interview. This is well before the YouTube streaming world and the world we live in now. Um, and I've always thought that was very interesting. Like, and I love Kanye pause as far as just what his artistry has meant and all that kind of stuff. As with any relationship, you kind of had to over the years of just kind of, because I like to try and judge people on how I would be if we were around each other. So
yeah.
for me, stardom and my fanship is uh it's separate, but it does still align with, if I can't, like, I had one friend ask me like, oh, and he's even transitioned off of Kanye. He stayed with Kanye even well after everybody left. And now he's even on some, yeah, I can't really know more. But he used to ask me like, well, why, I know you were such a big fan. Why have you kind of backed off a little bit? And I was like, well, I said, because he just kind of reached an area to where I like to still try and judge people on whether, everybody knows I'm a big E40 fan, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows. I'm a huge
Ooh.
E40 fan. Anytime I bring up E40, I always make sure to bring him up in GOAT debates simply because he's never going to get mentioned the way he should, just in his what he's meant to the game. I'm always going to bring him up. A huge reason why I like E40 is because although I've met him insignificant a couple times, he doesn't know I've met him a couple times because I haven't been significant enough in the times I've met him. But every time I've been around him, seeing him in interviews, all the kind of stuff, he's somebody I feel like I would rock with, like genuinely. Like if we grew up in the same spot, we would be, like there's always going to be some of that judging. When you kind of evaluate people, I feel like Kanye kind of got to a point where I was like, damn, I don't know if I would rock with you, even if it was on some normal level. So I say that to say when seeing this, it kind of reminded me of that, like how he reacted. I was actually pretty profound when he said that, because even the face you made when I
Yeah.
was revealing that, it
Never
was kind
thought
of like,
about that. Yeah. It's a
huh,
different
never
perspective.
thought about that. He was like, yeah, I was raised around women, so a lot of and being a man and living in that space, right? In this emotional space, men aren't always equipped to deal with that emotional space the way women are,
Yeah.
right? Like that complex emotion, the complex layers of emotion that constantly exist in women. A lot of times men, especially young men, don't know how to deal with that. So
Yeah.
then it comes out in this kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so a lot of the ways that he was reacting, he was saying that it was associated with that. And I thought that was very interesting. So him saying alluded to his mom being a lesbian, it's kind of like, again, I can't really, you were around her. Um, that's you speaking on now. Is that you just being that way? Is that you kind of tearing down a lot of the symbolism regarding things that you now be talking about? And so this is consistent with that teardown, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Mhm.
But I thought that was very interesting that that would be something that he would.
Well, I mean, it sounds like I didn't remember that interview. I probably did watch it. But he's kind of saying the similar thing. So he was saying this year, because when you say inherited something and you say, I am like this because of that, but I also feel like that's a lack of accountability. I do believe we are raised, and some of our viewpoints and ways can come from how we were raised. But I also feel that if you know that those viewpoints are not always positive, you don't have to take that stance. You know what I mean? And I just feel like, with Kanye, as much as I respect him as an artist, as a genius producer, he just seems to spew so much negative
Yeah,
energy out.
right,
Like, I just would be happy to just hear him, just say something positive. So there's just a lot of bad juju that's just in him, because you can't spew it out unless it's here. There's a
right,
saying that says, your thoughts become actions, your actions, become words, or something like that. You can't say it unless it's not here, you know? And I just really pray for his healing, that he can get past that and just live on, because a lot of people, they're like, oh, when I'm honest and I just speak my truth and I'm right and I'm straightforward, and they try to use that as an excuse for being rude as Fuck.
right,
You know what I
right,
mean? Those people try to, I'm straightforward too, but I'm not rude. There's a
right,
difference, right?
right, right,
And it's not about being, trying to be PC or diplomatic with people. It's just simply being that I never want to do thing that's gonna hurt another person. So I'm mindful. I'm mindful that if I have to share something that's not in the right way, I want to try to share it with enough compassion, because what I don't want to do is try to hurt another person.
right.
You know what I mean? To try,
Yeah,
especially when we come down to, to kids. It was like he apologized for what he said about Jay-Z's kids, but then he just came back up with negative. So, you know, Yeah, yeah.
And
I mean,
and even that apology is you can only take it for what it's worth because you don't know when he's gonna retract that. You know what I'm saying?
and that's what I felt like he ended
Yeah,
up doing, you know. So
yeah,
you know, it just, yeah, yeah, you know,
yeah.
that's all yeah, I want to. Yeah, I mean, there's not more. So let's talk about, I don't know if you guys heard about this story. We thought it was important because we just really, so there was a story. Let me just share this, guys. The doctor accused of trying to push his wife off of a cliff. So
Wow.
basically, this doctor, he's an anesthesiologist. Let me go down so you guys could see this picture. Look at it. You know what? Look at the eyes. Look at the eyes of this person. I'm telling you. But look at them. You know, this is when they were married. So basically they were traveling out in the Maui area, I believe, and they were in Oahu too when and I was doing our research on the story. And basically he was trying to ask his wife, "Hey, let's take a picture over the cliff." And the wife, she just refused to take a picture over this cliff. She probably felt like something in her gut or pit just didn't feel right. So he got upset, guys, and he started to hit his wife in the head with a rock. He was 46, she was 36 years old. So she started screaming, and thank God. I mean, can you imagine being hit with a rock, but you're still trying to scream? She started screaming, and thank God some people ran over. And this nutcase ended up running away. So let me pause for a second.
Mm.
Um, Now I'm being dopamine today. Y'all know Aunt Wow. We normally do, you know, I'm the Zen, he's the dopamine, but we're promoting our song Coffee, Tea, or Me, which is streaming on all major platforms. Please purchase that because we want to
But
make sure that we can get our next theater. But who, y'all, this one is it's scary. I remember I was dating someone, and I believe they're living in Vegas now. How ironic is that? And when we got to the worst of situations, first of all, he hid a lot of stuff. And when I knew something wasn't right, when I came home one day and I heard him talking to himself in my bathroom, this wasn't like he was praying, you know what I mean? He was literally talking to himself. And I knew that this situation was not safe for my son and I, based on some of the things that I was hearing. When it came to light of me saying, "Hey, we got to go our separate ways," guys, he stole my car. He did so many negative things, you know, tried to put stuff in my son's head. So I share my story to say, be mindful who you bring around your kids. Be mindful who you say you love.
mm,
Um, because there's some crazy people. Did y'all see him in that picture? He just looked great. He's a doctor. He's upstanding. This fool tried to take her out. And I am telling women, and it's not that it's not for men, but in this situation, women, when it quacks like a effing duck, it's a duck.
that's
Stop trying to make excuses for these crazy amen. Get the heck out. I've been through domestic violence. Get the hell out, guys. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to leave if something's not right. I'm so thankful she survived, but can you
mm,
imagine the trauma?
wow.
I'm married to this person. I'm giving my life to this person that I'm looking up over a cliff, knowing if I fall off of this cliff, I'm done. And a rock is coming at me to the person who claimed their forever love for me. Is it that
Mm,
hard to just walk the hell away from somebody you don't want to be with?
mm.
Like, is it that hard that we have to take someone else's life because we're too punk? We're too punk to just walk away? Because that's all it is, guys. When it all boils down,
Yeah.
someone tries to take a person's life for insurance policies normally. or because they're having an affair. It's never just, oh, I randomly just want to do this. It's always tying into something else. But my plea right now is to women. If you are in a situation you know it's not right, get out. Because that that dark spirit, that demonic spirit will smile, it will nip you, it will manipulate you. It is conniving
Mm,
and it knows you better sometimes than you know yourself. Get out.
mm,
Because the minute that you don't do something that they want to do, they're going to unleash on you. And
mm,
that's what happened. Read the article.
mm,
He planned to set her up and act like she fell. That's what it was. See, if nobody was around, he would have been on the news crying, oh, she fell off the cliff. The whole time this fool tried to push her off the cliff.
yeah.
The whole time. And we hear it. I love watching Crime ID and stories like that because it lets me know how many crazy FUCKs we have out here in the world.
Mm,
Be mindful. Do not make excuses. If your eyes say what it is what it is. If your gut feels something, it is what it is. Get out.
mm.
Get out. And I just pray this woman heals, her mental heals, her physical scars heals, and that he pays for the damage that he did. And let me say this to the people who want to hurt people, because y'all probably watching too.
Mm,
Just let them go. Ain't no vagina, ain't no pee worth it. Just let them go. It's no sense of you losing your life or spending lifetime and years for some women. Like, don't do it. She's not worth it. I'm just saying that nobody's worth it.
mm,
Take a step back, be bold, and say, I'm having an affair. I can't do this no more.
mhm,
If you got money, you can get more money. You don't have to take somebody's life out. You don't. You
mhm.
don't have to do that. There is a better way. Aunt Weezy, sorry to go so long, guys, but I'm just
No,
kind of
listen,
passionate about
I
this.
was this was no, that was needed. And I don't really have a whole lot. I mean, I do, but you touched on it.
Yeah,
Um, I am a big believer in that. I'm a big believer in, again, I don't know nothing about this. I wasn't raised in
yeah,
I wasn't raised in a household like that. Number one. Number two, luckily I don't have the chemical imbalance, because there's obviously something there. I mean, you're a
yeah,
surgeon, you went through all this discipline to become this, to reach this perfection. There's a lot of dedication just in that process. Not only is it hard, but there's a lot of dedication. I'm actually giving props to those that make that decision. You know what I'm saying? To
right.
become a doctor, especially a surgeon, there's a lot of dedication that it takes to become that, right? Um, Obviously something was off, and or you, whatever it is you felt. And I've said that, I don't know, I may have said this on this show. I feel like I've said this recently. I feel like I said it on the show. Maybe I did, or maybe I didn't.
Mhm.
But I remember there was a situation where um years ago, young 20s, I was dealing with a young lady, and
I remember this.
yeah, she was intentionally pushing my buttons to the point where I started to see red. And when on the way home, uh with uh with what I'm saying, one of my best friends on our Tanet, shout out to Tanet.
What's
I
up?
remember telling him, and I was like damn near at the top of my lungs, and tears were coming down my eyes. And I was like, dude, I don't care if we're married 20 years and we got 5 kids. If somebody ever gets me to the point where I'm this mad to where I want to do this, it's over.
Yeah.
It's a wrap.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It's a wrap. Like, it's a wrap. Well, because for me to get to that point where I actually want to, because I am such a person that doesn't operate in that space, not only do I not believe in it, I just don't operate in that space. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean you can do anything stupid, and that's a whole nother conversation that we've touched on. Don't again, play stupid games, get stupid prizes. Don't be walking up trying to hit a man and
Right.
expect him not to hit you back if he's not doesn't have enough restraint to do so, and then villainize him for not having enough strength to do so. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying I don't um I don't even entertain. Like there's been, we all have gone through dating phases or just kind of chilling
Hmm.
phases or whatever. There's
Yeah.
been times I have been chilling with a chick and she's shown parts of her that pokes. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because this is only going to lead to, first of all, us arguing. I don't like to argue. I
Yeah.
will absolutely stand on what I'm talking about. So a lot of times, if you're not in the right mindset, you may think I want to argue. I actually don't want to argue at all. I just can't let you just say anything if it's not true according to where, you know what I'm saying?
Where
But
you stand at, where
where
church
I stand
is.
at.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I don't. A lot of times we may be arguing because you trying to argue, and then now I'm mad. Hey,
Yeah.
now I'm mad. Dang it, Gina. Now I'm mad. Right, like type of stuff.
Right.
So it's both ways. Like you're being cautionary with the women because
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about in this situation. This is terrible. As we were going through it before the show started, this is terrible. But a lot of times when me and Lisa have these conversations, actually, obviously on camera, but off camera, we've had a lot of conversations like this, and she knows. I be like, I then step in from the man standpoint and exercise accountability from there, right? If you are in a situation now, I don't know what this is. I'm not saying this happened with him at all. This just seemed like he was. So I'm separating him from that. But
Right.
in the message of accountability, like she's saying, women be accountable. If it quacks like a effing duck, it's a duck, right? Don't try and change somebody or whatever when they quacking like a duck. Men responsibility is if you know that you react a certain way in certain situations and this female is pushing your buttons, you can tell early on if she's going to be the kind of person that's going to push your buttons.
Let her go.
Let her go.
Let her go.
I am speaking from experience. They have been bad, they have been beautiful, all the kinds of things. Because, like she said, it ain't my one of my favorite phrases. It can't be that mean. It can't be that mean.
Yeah.
The relations. It can't be that mean. Her stuff. I'm
Right.
trying to stay
Right.
YouTube compliant. But if
Right.
I was really on my gully, I would say, it can't be that mean to where you got to be doing all that, to where you got
Right.
to be staying around. It can't be that mean. Like Eddie
Right.
Murphy said, "Hey, I don't care if there's sparks, if the rains thunder, if the sea parts, if the mountains roar. I don't care what happens. It can't be that mean to where you got to act that way."
I agree.
So this is a PSA to um for us to stay in tuned with that. If they are making you react a certain way, you can tell early on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Don't wait until it gets to the point where now police is out every day. Now you're just dealing with this hostile environment. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Who wants to do that?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, nah, I don't like if you somebody who likes to argue a lot, I ain't getting down because I'm gonna be standing on mine, and then you gonna be sitting here, and then we gonna be
Yeah.
occupying this space, and then all this kind of stuff, and then I'm gonna have to say some stuff, and so that's not the case here. He obviously had an agenda. Pray for her. She survived. How is she supposed to recover from that? This is somebody you know, but everybody needs to watch. Women watch. If they have these tendencies, if they get charged up a certain way in certain arguments, I'm not a person who believe in that you need to be sitting here, just screaming if man and women get into it. I'm not a believer that, man, you just need to be screaming. Now, I'm passionate, I'm animated. So sometimes
Yeah.
my voice will get loud, but that's not me. You see what I'm saying? And even if
Mhm.
my voice getting loud, it's only because I may slip because I'm very cognizant to try and talk in a certain way,
Yeah.
right? It's very it's an important thing. So just pay more attention, everybody, in this situation. My heart goes out to her. This was terrible.
It
As we
was
were reading it,
terrible.
this was terrible. It's disgusting. I don't think the rabbit holes we went down conversationally regarding this is just a PSA for everybody in this
Yeah.
situation. It seems like, but again, if there was something that he was displaying, stuff always comes to light. It
Yeah.
really does. So if you pay
Yeah.
attention early, you can prevent darkness later.
I agree.
Lots.
Guys, listen, we had more topics to get to, but one of the feedback you guys gave us is, can y'all shorten it up a little bit? So we appreciate that. But I do want you guys answer the question, if you were in that situation, or if you have been in that situation where your spouse has done something, what did you do in that situation? Because I believe that we are all on this platform to help one another in some way. And so if you are comfortable sharing your story, please drop a comment and share your comment. We thank you so much for listening
Word,
to us on this Good Friday. Happy Easter to
word,
everybody, and maybe we'll come back with a reboot or a part two later this evening or whatever to finish out some of the topics. But we do want to be mindful of your time because we do have to upload this segment on time at 9 a.m. And so
word,
we got like 20 minutes to edit and get it out to you guys. So
word.
we'll see you next week, this time, every Friday, 9 a.m. Blessings to you. Bye.
Peace.